The Power of Asking, a true story. Several years ago, I came to our home in Maine, and next door, the woman from the church, which was now a thrift shop, came over and asked me if I wanted to go to the Solon High School reunion. And I asked her, why would I do that? Because I didn't go to the Solon High School. And she said, no, I realize that, but wasn't your grandfather Malin Whipple? I said, yes. Well, you might be interested to know. And she almost said it with a little lilt in her voice that she should have put Sonny Boy after it, but she didn't. She said Malin was the first graduate of Solon High School in 1903. And then she asked me, would you want to know what the class size was in 1903 when he graduated? And I said, sure. And she said it was a class of one, just him. He was the only member of that class. And then she suggested I go down, which my wife and I did, to the Solon High School reunion, and they had his story from 1953, which was the 50-year anniversary of when he had graduated. And I didn't know anything about this story, so I picked up the magazine and I read about it. And it talked about how he graduated from Solon High School, didn't have any money, and he ended up going about 80 miles away to sell books door to door, trying to get enough money to go to college. So he knocks on a door. A doctor, turns out, opens the door and asks him, what are you doing, son? And he said, well, I'm trying to sell enough books to be able to go to college. And he said, what's your name? He said, my name is Malin Whipple. And the doctor then said, are you from Solon? And he said, yeah. He said, when I was a kid, both my parents were killed. Your parents took me in. Now he's about 80 miles away from Solon, Maine at that point. And the doctor said to him, if you study the sciences, I'll loan you the money to go to college. And he was near Bowdoin College. They were coincidentally giving the exams. And the doctor said, if you pass the exams, you can go down and test for Bowdoin College right now. So he said his Greek and Latin was a little rusty, but he did that. He went down, he passed. And then he ended up going to Bowdoin College and graduating. Before he went to college, he went out after the doctor loaned him the money, and he took a life insurance policy out on himself, which I thought was a pretty impressive thing for an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, however old he was, to do. In case something happened to him, he could pay back that money. And then the end of the story was that, and then the luckiest break of his life happened. Like, that wasn't the luckiest break. And he mentioned that he got a scholarship to go to MIT, where he did, and he graduated. But the very tail end of that story was, I didn't do anything 1,000 other boys hadn't done before me, but maybe it just proves where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm a firm believer on that. You know, in QLA we say you need to kiss a lot of frogs, and that's the same thing in knocking on doors, cold calling, whatever you want to call it. Had he not knocked on that door, I suspect his life would have been significantly different. So I would encourage you to remember, where there's a will, there's a way. Figure out how to get it done and kiss a lot of frogs. That, in large part, is the secret of QLA and making it successful for you.
Okay, so if you have any questions or comments or ideas for future episodes, please email bruce@brucewhipple.com. And if you're not already on our mailing list, head over to brucewhipple.com and sign up and grab any of the free reports. That'll put you on the mailing list. There is a lot of free information you can use to acquire already profitable businesses. This is Bruce Whipple. Thanks for listening to the Business Acquisition Podcast. And remember, you miss 100% of the opportunities you fail to take. And procrastination truly is the thief of time. So do something today, please. Your future self will be proud of you.